Hey guys, this is Seth here with the grand finale of all this E3 2015 content stuff, whatever you call it, stuff. And yeah, I don't even know where to begin with E3, honestly. Like at this point though, E3 E3 is pretty much done, pretty much over with. I mean, the conferences are all done. The second to last day of E3 has pretty much concluded, and now we've reached one more day coming tomorrow. Nothing I imagine new that's is going to be coming out of that. I think we've already known. I think everything that needed to be explained has been explained. Um, but with that in mind, it's time to kind of. I think it's finally time to explain how I feel all the conferences did and how how they all turned out. But I mean, I don't even know where to begin because there's just so many conferences that happened. But the thing is, though, is that a lot of them were shit. Honestly, I'm gonna be very blunt. A lot of them were kind of shit. Um, and if they weren't shit, they were just all right. All right in terms of, you know, they could have been a lot worse. I think. But the main issue that a lot of these conferences all had was just all that filler. It was just not needed. But I mean, I guess I'll go through every one of them. Basically sum up how I feel everyone did. Bethesda, too much freaking, too much freaking Fallout 4. Way too much of it. 30 minutes was not necessary. And as it turns out, I think Bethesda shouldn't have really done a conference. Um, they really didn't need to. I mean, we could have found all of this out otherwise. There was, to spend 30 minutes on one game, yeah. I understand it's their first conference, but common sense would be if you're spending 30 minutes on one game, there's a problem. Why didn't they just look at previous footage of conferences and see how they were done and see how they went and how you would typically talk about a conference and all that? But it's just they didn't do that, unfortunately. Um, and the same goes for Square Enix and the PC Gaming Show, really. I mean, they spent a lot of time talking about certain games, dragged on, had a lot of games that had already appeared in previous conferences. There was really nothing much of note in a lot of the conferences, and even to the point where I think Microsoft really didn't even need a conference this year because all of their games pretty much showed up in the PC Gaming Show. Um, and it's ridiculous, like how bad a lot of these conferences went. In terms of filler and just dragging on and like so many hours could have been saved for a lot of people if they had just been if they had cut out all this filler. You don't need filler. Like you can end at an hour if you need to. Um, if all you're gonna have in that hour is some material people would actually want to see, that doesn't drag out on and on and on and stuff like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have no problem. I have no issue with Fallout 4. I have no issue. The only games I really have any kind of issue with are the EA Sports games, solely because they're just so damn similar to each other. And they're so not special. I mean, I saw a demo of the Madden game being played during game trailers this stream, and despite all these mechanics they kept flaunting and bragging about for this game, it did not look any different at all from the last Madden game. Like, nothing at all. And, you know, that's the only problem. I mean, they still sell, but that's the only reason I could even excuse this, because people buy them, like, pretty much. Um, Other than that, there was the matter of, like I said, Microsoft didn't really. It could have been a lot worse. I think out of everyone, I think Sony was first. I'm beginning to say Microsoft now, and then Nintendo, in order. Um, but I kind of want to say Nintendo was second at the same time. I think Microsoft and Nintendo were kind of similar in their conferences in a way, but I don't know. Either way, honestly, if anything, the bombshells were definitely the highlight of this E3. You know, you had that Rare Collection, you had Shenmue 3, you had Final Fantasy 7 Remake, you know, you had all these amazing bombshells, The Last Guardian, like, all these games that just came out of nowhere. No one expected. And that's what I think made this E3 for everyone, was just all these bombshells. Not really so much the conferences themselves, but the bombshells that were announced. Like, no one saw these coming. And that's what I'm proud about, you know, about this E3s. It was the best E3 ever. Not because of the conferences, but more so because of the games that were shown. Like, if we didn't have any conferences, no doubt, everything that was explained, I can't even begin. Like, I honestly can't even begin to explain just how crazy this game, like this conference, you know, this expo was. And it was the best E3 we've had so far, despite the lackluster conferences. I mean, Sony was probably the only good one, and you know, everyone else was either shit or they were actually, you know, decent. You know, but the thing for me is like the thing for me is like I understand that people may love this game. I understand that, but this isn't the conference for that game. This is like, for example, this wasn't a Fallout 4 conference. This was a Bethesda conference. This isn't a this isn't a Hitman conference. This is a Square Enix conference. You know, this wasn't a Microsoft conference. This was a PC gaming conference. That doesn't just include Microsoft Windows. It includes Steam. It includes Origin. As much as I wouldn't want to see EA again, they do have a lot of it to do with, you know, PC gaming to a degree. Like, there wasn't no point at all. You know, for a lot of the conference duration that these briefings had, like, I could definitely say that the PC gaming show could have easily been just an hour and a half. I think Square Enix, Bethesda, you know, Square Enix and Bethesda shouldn't have even done a conference at all. Microsoft may not even have had to do a conference either because of how many games showed up in the PC gaming show that was theirs. And if they did, they could have easily made it like 30 minutes. Nintendo borderline didn't even need a conference either because they really didn't have that much new either to show off. Their digital event was really pointless. Like, the thing about this E3 is that although we've had a lot of good stuff be revealed at the conference, like this at the expo this year, the conferences did not reveal anything new at all. At least for the vast majority of them. Like I said, Sony had the best conference solely because they didn't have that much filler, as much filler as everyone else, and they had a lot of new game announcements to share. Like, it was not in comparison to everyone else. Like, even Microsoft, I think they only announced the rare stuff and Unraveled, and that was it. And another issue that I had with a lot of the conferences too is that I'm amazed at how few exclusives Microsoft and Sony have. Like, almost all of them are going to be on either the other consoles, or they're going to be on PC as well. Like, they really don't have much in the way of exclusives. So, yeah, that's unfortunate, but I mean, I don't mean to sound like a negative Nancy. Like, I don't like being negative. I assure you of this. I don't like it. But I'm being realistic here when I say that honestly. And this is coming from a standpoint of someone, even though I feel like, look, I'm not saying I hate shooter games. I'm not basing this based on my standards for games. I'm basing this based on how the conferences were presented. Like, that was my main issue with E3 this year. Wasn't so much the games that were shown. You know, the games like Fallout 4, I have no issue with. I can see why so many people are excited about it. It's just the way they presented this damn game was so poor. Like, you don't need to spend 30 minutes on a game and then go on about it again in Microsoft's conference. Like, how in the hell did they prove that? Why didn't you just do one bit during Microsoft's conference about Fallout 4, you know, and not even do your own damn conference then? You know, like, I don't understand why they went on and on and on about. Everyone went on and on and on about one game or two games so damn much in multiple conferences. Like, They could have easily talked about this on the show floor. I mean, we found out about Zelda still coming to Wii U on the show floor. You know, we found out. We still find out you can. The show floor is there for a reason, guys. You don't need to make all your announcements, like every single little thing you have to say, on your conferences. There are 2 other days of E3. The conferences are there just to announce new hardware, or new software. That's what they're really supposed to be there for. I don't like how games that we've seen last year show up again. Like, I don't like how Ubisoft basically became the Tom Clancy conference. Like, that wasn't necessary. Like, if you want to talk about these games, don't do it in the middle of a conference for the millionth time. Like, we've heard about some of these Tom Clancy games for like 2-3 years now. It just takes down the quality of your conference when you just talk about the same things over and over and over again that people have already heard. That people who, like, that doesn't surprise anyone. People all like the main thing that people love about E3 are the shocking announcements, the new stuff, brand new things that people enjoy, new stuff that just brings a tear to gamers' eyes and nerds' eyes. Like, that's what makes E3 great, not the fact that we're seeing this game 10 times in conferences. Like, that doesn't excite people. I mean, like, the more, like, I could honestly say this, the more people were seeing, like, more Fallout 4 was being shown, the more people were getting frustrated. Like, the more, like, and even then, like, I will be honest, you could see it on the TweetDeck feeds to the live commentaries. Twitter has a huge boner for Fallout 4. It doesn't matter, like, how much they went on about it. They were still like, oh my god, this is amazing, please, I'm all over Fallout 4. It's like, guys, they talked about this for 30 fucking minutes. How much more of this do you need? They're going to demo it on the show floor. You're going to get lots more Fallout 4. And it doesn't need to be during the conferences like this. Like, and even then, like I said, I'm sure when we get to the Brain Scratch video, I'm supposed to be doing the Post-E3 video with Brain Scratch tomorrow or so. No doubt in my mind, I have a feeling Fallout 4 will be brought up. Whether they're going to be excited about it or not, I don't know, but wouldn't be surprised if one of the things they do criticize was just how much they went on about it. Like, there was no need to go for 30 freaking minutes. I've never, ever seen a game go for that long in a conference. That was unnecessary. And again, I need to clarify, I don't have an issue with the game. The game is perfectly fine. I can see why people are excited for it and really hyped for it. But there's no need to talk about it for 30 freaking minutes in a conference where you have many other games you could show off. And it goes for everyone. Like, even Sony, to a degree, they did not need to go on about... I don't think talking about Hitman was necessary. Like, it's like, I understand. I know I've been ranting about this all week long, but this is really the main issue I've had with E3 conferences this year. It's like, by the end of the PC gaming show, I was so done with it. Like, I wanted it to finish. I mean, and it just dragged on and on and on because they weren't talking about anything new. That's the thing that keeps people attracted, is talking about new stuff, not the same old stuff we've already heard. To a degree, like I said, I can understand talking about Fallout 4 for maybe 10 minutes because it's something no one's seen before, but it didn't need to go for 30. It didn't need to go for that. I'm using that example because that really is the most... I even saw on YouTube to make sure I was accurate about that they did go on for that long. And indeed, I saw the Fallout 4 segment that got... Like, Fallout 4 segments that get uploaded to YouTube were like 30 minutes long. And it's stupid. Like, that wasn't necessary. But as I said, that... Besides this issue that I've had with the conferences this year, just dragging out and being full of filler, I'm gonna be honest, this E3 wasn't that bad. I mean, it was busy as hell, but it wasn't that bad. You had, like I said, you had the glitches with the conferences, but there were a lot of good announcements as well. You know, a lot of bombshells. The Shenmue 3 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake announcements, bar none, were probably the biggest and most hyped announcement, like the most emotional announcement I think a lot of people have had since Zelda Twilight Princess in 2004. That's how big it was. We haven't had something like a moment like this in E3 in 10 years. Even the burning of the Xbox One that Sony had in 2013 does not compare to this. Because, I mean, yeah, it was brilliant and there were a lot of cheers, no doubt. But it wasn't like this, where everyone went ballistic. Absolutely ballistic. I have never seen anything like this before. I mean, it does not compare to Sony. Like, it does not compare to the 2013 conference. And not to mention, Sony had one segment that during that conference that was crazy. Here they had like 3 or 4 that were just absolutely asinine that everyone went crazy over. Especially the latter two announcements. Like I said, Final Fantasy Shenmue 3 really got everyone. Like the Last Guardian, as I said, everyone was excited for that. But I think that was like, oh, okay, you know. Like I think the reactions I had for during the conference live commentary that I did pretty much summarized, I think, how everyone was, how everyone felt. Like everyone heard about Final Fantasy, like the Last Guardian, and everyone was like, oh, okay, well then, well, okay, wow, okay. And then Final Fantasy 7 Remake came out, and everyone was like, oh my god. And then Shenmue 3 came out, and it was like, you know, everyone was just dead. Like it was just a 1, 2, 3 punch. And that's what everyone really loved about Sony's conference. But Nintendo was just a letdown. You know, Microsoft was just eh. EA and Ubisoft were EA and Ubisoft. Their typical stupid, unoriginal, cringy selves. In my opinion, anyway. PC Gaming Show, as I said, was long and drawn out. Nothing new was to offer. They didn't really announce anything new in that. Bethesda, I already explained. Square Enix was just awkward and really they were just boring to a degree. Like I think a lot of people were getting bored every now and then just in the conferences. Like I think Nier 2 is the only real good announcement in that. Although it wasn't yet another bombshell, I might add. To be fair, that was another bombshell, but I think it was just. I think the unfortunate thing is that in terms of that conference, Nier 2 was overshadowed by all the awkwardness and just strained. Like it was almost on the scale of Konami, but without the meme status. I think it gained. Other than that. I'd say it was on par with, I'd say it was definitely the best E3 yet. I mean, I will be honest, despite the conferences, I can easily look past them just on the basis of just how crazy the game lineup ended up being. It was amazing. Like, I just don't like it. I just don't like how the conferences happen. And that would, like I said, it was my main complaint. If you want my honest opinion about how everyone did, like in terms of grades and all, it's really difficult to say. I guess if I had to rate it like on a scale of 1 to 3, 1 being bad, 2 being meh, and 3 being great, I'd say I'd say uh, I'd say Bethesda was a 2, Microsoft was a 2, EA and Ubisoft were a 1, um, Sony was a 3, Nintendo was, I kind of want to say, a 1.5. Square Enix was, I think, also a 1.5. I almost want to say, and the PC Gaming Show was a 1. Um, if you want my honest opinion on them, there you go. But yeah. But I think that's pretty much all I need to really explain. I just hope you guys enjoyed all this like yapping and stuff I've been doing all week. I know it's out of the ordinary and there wasn't any gameplay or anything like that, and I know the lack of face cam may have hurt the live commentaries a bit, but I really just wanted to let it be about the TweetDeck feed, let you guys see that side of E3 that no one really gets to see all that often. Like I said, no one, like whenever you hear anything about the social media response to it, it's almost always the same. Like it's usually like just reading off of a random tweet or two, and then moving on. Like it's nothing of note. But compared to with the this year's live commentaries, I actually added a TweetDeck feed, to show how people are reacting to it, and I'm glad I did. It was really nice to see. I will be honest though, I do think that the whole podcast, this way I sorted out the covers this year, I'm beginning to wonder if it was really worth it or not. I mean, sure, it was great to, just be able to sit back, relax, not have to worry about handling a chat or anything like that. It's just, I think interacting with you guys is really what made E3 amazing. Even if I don't actually show off the conferences or anything like that, it does give me an idea. I could potentially still cover E3, but without having the but without having the commentary, like the conferences shown on camera and shown on the stream and not audible. I could always do that, but I don't know. Like, it gives me an idea of what I might want to do next year, but we'll see. Like, that's something for down the line. Right now, I'm just gonna sit back and relax. I got one more video to record that's post-E3 related, and then that's it. I'm done with E3, excluding any articles I may write. But yeah, guys, I hope you all have been enjoying this. I hope you all enjoyed this. The LPs come back to normal. I mean, when you guys are seeing this now, it's already, the brain scratch video may have already gone up. E3 will have already been said and done, but that's it, guys. I hope you all enjoyed E3, and I'm sure with all the games, I hope you all are looking forward to later this year when all the games we've been seeing come out. So, or at least not all of them, but most of them anyway. Like, a lot of games are coming up later this year, but with that in mind, I will see you guys for the return of the LPs starting on Monday. It's back to normality on the channel, at least for another month, because there is now time for me to start changing focus. Now I gotta start focusing on the Nintendo-thon next. That's gonna be a doozy. But for now, guys, this is SSF signing out. Sayonara, guys.